You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Let's try that again. Well, good morning and hello, kids. Welcome to Season 3 and Episode number 85 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, March 27th, 2023, and it's nice now here at the Beaver Lodge, but there's going to be rain. It's a-coming. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver. Yes, the eager beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? I see that Fridays. Stuff has continued, and with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Thank you to all the kits who have sent good wishes for my beaver sweetie. The recovery is going very, very, very well. He's walking and full range of motion, full weight bearing on his ankle, can do it also on his wrist if he's leaning on it. So that's good. He doesn't seem to be in too much pain. Didn't need any of the pain medication, which is good because if you can avoid morphine, that's always a good thing. He's got me hopping though. Florence Nightingale duty is keeps me busy. So I haven't had as much time to prepare a full Monday show as well as I normally do, but we do have stuff, so don't worry. But before we go any further, let's say hello to our good friend and our constant companion, Mr. Grizzly. Hello, Mr. Grizzly, and how's your mental health today?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. I think you can tell by my appearance of being all squint-eyed and confused that I am not awake yet. And I've been up since 5, barely. So I don't know. The last couple of days I've been not sleeping well. And you know how the sertraline or the Zoloft gives me extremely vivid, realistic feeling dreams.
Yep.
I'll give you a hint of what last night was.
Please do.
I was a goaltender for Team Canada Juniors, which is odd because I'll be 55 in July. And we were playing against the USA. And I don't know where we were. It was a rink that was built in a volcano somewhere. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait a minute. A hockey rink in a volcano.
Yeah. Well, it was an extinct volcano, right?
Well, yes.
Active.
There's some imagery there.
Yeah. It's like a James Bond film. And somehow, I don't know how, someone decided to introduce a slew of AR-15s into the match. There was gunfire and bloodshed, and I took 2 in the leg and couldn't. Just got more bizarre. I woke up in a puddle of sweat, freaking out. Had to check my leg 3 or 4 times to make sure that I wasn't actually shot. Yeah, like I said, my dreams are bizarre, man. I have no idea what any of it means.
Whoa. Gee, are you sure that's a dream?
Well, wasn't one that I wanted, but it happened.
Okay. Sounds more like a nightmare to me. Good morning, Kit Jillian, Kit Ellen, Kit Jen, Kit Daniel, Kit Saucy, Kit Dean. Ooh, we have quite a crowd joining us today. Thank you so very much. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. In the headlines, there's a lot. Doug Ford has been a little busy on health stuff. And I have a feeling that Mr. Grizzly might want to talk about that. The President Joe Biden's visit came and went, delivered a great speech to the House of Commons, and it seems that journalists, yes, I had to tell. So there was some viral. They have to, yes, exactly. I had to tell them to stand up for women. So there were some viral moments from that. What else was there happening? There's stuff going on around the world. Stuff are get a little nuts in Israel. In particular, there's an election in Prince Edward Island.
Yes.
On. So yeah, there's a lot of news, Kits. We might not be able to get to all of it today, but we will do our best to get to as much of it as we can, because we like to keep you informed. Now, Mr. Grizzly, you usually have some stuff to start off the day, but I've got one that I want to start.
Okay.
Has something to do with our orange friend south of us. It's one of the porn stars in the world with the best social media games is at it again. Maria, President Trump wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, Stormy Daniels. It's true. He used a 3-inch one. And we have the cool Rev Daniel saying, apparently I'm not the snarkiest Daniel on Twitter.
She's so good at that snark game, man. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man. It's absolutely great. I love it.
Wow. So, yeah,
he's in a bit of a panic.
You think? Well,
yeah.
So did you see the photo? I'll see if I can find the photo. There was a photo of him on stage in Waco, Texas, on the 30th anniversary of the Branch Davidian assault. David Koresh, when a bunch of people died.
Yes.
And
Waco was in Waco today.
Waco went Waco. Waco, you know what I mean?
No, there were Wacos in Waco.
Thank you.
Now,
yeah.
Over the course of the weekend.
Well, there's the photo of him on stage dancing, and what's in the background on the big LED video wall? January 6th assault on the Capitol building.
Yes.
Bragging
about
those
playing in the background.
Bragging about, insurrection, treason, just completely bizarre. But I have something that is related to Canadian government and convoy cheerleader Sarah Fischer.
Ooh, yeah.
She tweeted this.
Yes.
What's that? When did she tweeted that? On Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday at noon.
Yes, after Joe Biden asked people to stand
for having 50% women in his cabinet, as does Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Sarah Fischer, imagine being a woman in a cabinet who doesn't know if she got there because of her merit or her gender.
Okay, now, again, we're talking about a 50% cabinet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing the men in that cabinet are equally wondering if they're there.
Oh, that would never. No.
And other people were making comments. Well, once you conclude, regionalism and expertise and provinces like this, it seems that merit is the last thing that counts anymore. So that wasn't the case when cabinet was only men.
Well, this is
were we getting the absolute best person from Atlantic Canada, or are we just getting the men who happen to be available from Atlantic Canada to fill the position? I mean, nothing has changed, right? It's not the arrival of women that have done that. And then she's saying, imagine that women that not knowing if you got there on merit or of gender. She doesn't know whether she got her job on either basis. She got her job because she could blow a trucker's horn.
And we're going to leave the euphemism out of that. No euphemism there. None whatsoever. She was literally...
She got that job because she romanticized truckers.
Yeah.
The most beautiful sound I ever seen. I've ever heard. Most beautiful sound. Yeah, she probably said most beautiful sound I've ever seen.
I don't know if that was what she said, but...
no, it was the most beautiful sound she had ever heard.
Saucy Sea Witch has got it in a nutshell right there. See you next Tuesday.
I'm just...
Well, this is, this is it. No one has ever questioned a man's merit. I mean, especially an old white man. We fail up. Remember that, right? You're gonna sit there and say that. And she tweeted this. And remember who holds some of the most prestigious and important roles in his cabinet: Melanie Joly,
yes.
and Chrystia Freeland, Anita Anand. They're all incredibly accomplished, highly educated, and experienced women. Was it former Prime Minister Kim Campbell the other day came out in defense of Chrystia Freeland, saying, look, you're going to tell me that somebody that's in charge of finance should be a former business person or businessman in some cases. She says, wasn't it a bunch of finance people and businessmen who basically tanked the entire global economy in 2008? So they don't always necessarily know the best thing. And Chrystia Freeland was an editor of the Financial Times. She has, 3 degrees and speaks 5 languages, well-traveled, well-educated. She knows more about finance than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
And Sarah Fischer has the audacity to say that. All those women were elected. Sarah Fischer won nothing, was given a position after honking a horn. Pot kettle.
Chrystia Freeland is somewhere having a laugh and dusting off her Rhodes Scholarship letter.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I mean, let's look at Sarah Fischer. I mean, why don't we just take a look at that which it is she brings to the game, Mr. Grizzly. Let's see what her qualifications for getting her job were. This is her when she was a candidate running against, who was it? Han Dong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. These are her qualifications. That was about
boxed water.
The boxed water.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it. Those drink box water bottles or paper box of water things just don't work. True to logic, fail. Yeah. So she basically provided the 5 billionth social media clip or quip about Trudeau being a himbo because she's so original. Mm-hmm. That's what got her job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Not impressed. This is not impressive.
Can we stop electing stupid people, please?
And here she's the director of communications. Is she not aware that the party is down like 20%? Like it has a 20% deficit with women compared to the Liberals. And this is the way you're going to say, like, not knowing was like women that are obviously very, very qualified. She's going to say they don't know how they. I'm pretty sure that Chrystia Freeland, Anita Anand, Melanie Joly, they're all pretty secure on whether or not they got there on merit.
Yeah.
When they're alone with the mirror, I don't think they're having any doubts.
I don't think so.
I just...
Look, we all have our
these...
imposter syndrome moments and our self-doubt moments, but these are some incredibly accomplished and confident women. Why does she hate women?
I really don't know. It's just... But they always send in a woman to do that job.
Of course, because, you can't have this clown in there doing it. Look in the middle of that photograph. Who's sitting down after they've been told to stand? Oh, right.
And the cheese sits alone. The cheese sits alone.
Head incel Michael Cooper.
Yes, and now, of course, this picture was taken by, I think it's Kingston and the Islands MP Mark Gerritsen, who seems to have been tapped on the shoulder by the Liberals recently to become their pit bull.
Oh, yes.
Now, we've been... his Twitter game has been strong for a while. We've been commenting on that, so this doesn't really surprise us. But, of course, some people, when they saw that image, because, they must always defend conservatives, got mad. Says, oh, well, everybody was standing and giving the ovation, but you were filming, Mark, so you weren't giving an ovation, were you? Well, I'm pretty sure he was probably still standing, and I'm pretty sure he was clapping at first, and then no one noticed someone did it, and then picked up the camera, and so we're going to criticize the person who took some time to capture somebody doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the people that are criticizing this also probably have a beef with the people that got the video footage of
these are the same people who will scream up and down.
Beating up people?
Yeah, these are the same people who will scream up and down. Oh, if it happened, where are the photos?
Yeah, but now it's like, okay, the cops are beating up people, and it's like, well, shame on you for having taken your time to just stand there and videotape it rather than what? So it's the fault of the guy that caught the guy doing the bad thing, not the guy doing the bad thing. Conservative logic.
The spin.
It's like, you weren't applauding either if you were filming him. Yeah, you know what? Look, here, filming you, still making noise.
Not to mention the fact that I guarantee you he was standing long before that. And didn't have to have the president to tell him to stand up.
I tell you, man.
Some days I just want to smack the shit out of people. I don't do it, but I want to. I also want $1 million, just so I, not because I'd spend it lavishly. It would just mean we could have a proper studio, I could hire an external producer instead of having to do all this myself.
If I had $1 million, I would hire you a producer, but not a real producer. That's cruel.
Wait a sec. What does that mean?
So let's enjoy this moment, Mr. Grizzly.
Please.
I'm very proud that both of us have cabinets that are 50% women for the first time in history. Even if you don't agree, guys, I stand up.
And there's still a lot who stayed seated.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, yeah. He's a pro, man.
I watched the speech.
He's a pro.
Live.
He's a pro.
I thought it was good. And they're like, well, he said China instead of Canada. That means he's... Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, and that one too, right? You saw that everybody stood except for the prime minister right at the beginning. And everybody's making a comment, oh, see, Sophie had to tell him to stand. No, it's called humility. The president just cited our prime minister for having a 50% cabinet. People are applauding the comment of 50% cabinet and the prime minister. Everybody rises, the prime minister stays stumble like this, and then eventually did stand after everyone else did.
Because standing for yourself is a little bit vain, right?
Right.
I mean, you know, if somebody complimented me and everybody stood up, I'd be like, how the hell do I get out of here?
Well, you know me, right? Whenever you see me on a show, like people start paying me compliments, I start to blush, right? I mean, I welcome. I'm not embarrassed by the compliments. I like them and I welcome them and I'm grateful for them. But
yeah,
they put you on the spot a little, right? You know, and it's when you're someone who typically likes to wear beige if the walls are beige so you can better blend in, well, then you blush.
I've never been good at blending in, but you know what I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, again, my culture blending is kind of a thing. Number one mistake, you don't blend enough. So yeah. And then well, things didn't actually get much better over the course, especially for PP, because there was a reception line, right? So the first day, the president arrives and he's greeted at the airport, and you know, Governor General is there and all that good stuff, and you know, and then he goes to the cottage, which we showed pictures of, you know, being very, very well received, and the next day he comes and gives the speech to the House of Commons. Now, as he's getting to the House of Commons, well, then
there's a receiving
there's
line
a reception
that
line.
they walk through.
There's a receiving line, exactly, before going in to give the speech. And there he's he gets to meet every one of the opposition leaders. So he met Elizabeth May, who offered him a chocolate bar by Piece by Chocolate, which was really great. And Tarek Haddad was invited to the dinner later that night, and he was very, 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 very happy. And apparently that wasn't planned with Piece by Chocolate at all, so it was a total surprise to him.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yves-François Blanchet had a moment with the president. Seemed to acquit himself very well. Didn't do any like rah-rah, you know, nationalist sovereignist thing. Jagmeet Singh had a moment with the president. That went very well. And then, but before them, Pierre Poliver had a moment with the president. And I would like you to look at it. We have it from two angles. Now, in this one, look at, obviously, what's Pierre, but if you have the time, the lady too far back, too further down from him in the beige.
Okay.
Look at her as well as this is going on. So this is from Yado Geisbrick's feed. He got this off CBC, off CTV feed. So here we go, Mr. Grizzly. Let me just make sure that my volume is okay.
Yeah.
First, before we do that. Yep, it is. Okay. Hold on. Actually, that's not loud enough. I'm going to have to increase the volume on my main computer here. There we go. Let's try that.
President Pierre Polyev, leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition.
Loyal opposition.
Absolutely. We believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system.
We do too. We do too, unfortunately.
President.
Okay. Now, he thought he needed to Pierre-splain that to a man who's been in office for, what, 40 years?
No, like 50.
50? Okay. Now, here's what I want you to look at. His very, very awkward smile. Okay, look at his face from this point on, 11. So he basically explains, he says, he makes the point of saying loyal. And I love the fact that Biden focused on loyal. Because you have to remember the context of this, right, is when we had the occupation in January, was Biden having someone from his inner circle place a phone call to Doug Ford's inner circle and say, if you need help clearing that bridge, we can help you with that, you know. And then Doug Ford has never moved so fast in his life before or after. It's no wonder it took him forever to get back to Ottawa. Poor dear was tired. He needed to rest. after jumping that fast. But look at his face from this point. These are 3 seconds of glory.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that smile. He knows he was so owned. Biden has moved on. And he's like, yeah, oh shit, he got me. Yeah. And look at the woman right there. Her face. She's in beige.
Mm-hmm.
She is priceless. Oh man, I tell you, poor Skippy. And here's the best thing: is that someone pointed out to me that it was available from the other angle, where you get to see absolutely everything. So let's show that. This is from CBC, I believe, that had this feed. So now you can say we see it from the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Check out the Prime Minister's face throughout this entire
Oh, I have
thing.
not seen this angle yet. This should be funny.
Leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition. Absolutely. We believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system. We do too, unfortunately. Mr. President,
we have to see that
Leader
again.
of His Majesty's loyal opposition. Absolutely. We believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system. We do too, unfortunately.
the guy from the I think the Privy Council with the white the white bib was also getting a good laugh off that, and of course of course Biden finishes him off with, yeah, we do too, unfortunately.
Yes. So Joe Biden was first elected to the Newcastle County Council from the 4th District in Delaware in January 5th, 1971. And he's been a United States Senator since January 3rd, 1973. So 50 years. 52 years if you want to get into it in government, but 50 years.
Mm.
From 73 to 2009, he was the senator for Delaware.
Exactly. Experience matters. Joe Biden has handled punks like Skippy for breakfast like 3 decades ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if this was more covered in the United States, because if they cared about Canada at all, the fact that he said we do too, unfortunately, would probably be a big scandal in the U.S. right now. But given that he knows nobody cares,
Yeah.
he just let loose. I love it. Then, of course, President Biden delivers his speech, and all the reaction to that is great. And then, of course, they have the dinner party, and then
the dinner party that he didn't get the invite for, but he actually did because they sent it to his parliamentary email address that he doesn't monitor.
Yes.
What?
So he.
Yes. Well, here's where I got a problem with that.
No.
Here's where I got a problem with that.
Sure.
His email.
I'm not sure that's correct. I'm not sure that's correct.
No, he said he doesn't monitor it.
I know that, but I'm not sure all of that is correct.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but here's my problem. Does he not know how to forward an email? Number one. Number two, why is he not using his official email address? What's he hiding? Is he back channeling to Stephen Harper directly? Or is it Russia? I'm just speculating. As they always say, I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions. Who knows?
Just asking questions. So yes, it seems that Pierre Bolivar. Well, actually, you know what? We also have to change that because when he introduced himself as Pierre Poilievre.
Mm-hmm.
So before, it seems he wanted to be known as Pierre Poilievre.
Now it's Poilievre. He keeps flip-flopping.
Well, yes, because now he's trying to win Quebec.
Yeah, it was.
So now he's Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, it was Poilievre when he was out west, but it's Poilievre when he's in Ottawa.
Yes, because I always remembered because we always just said Poilievre, and then we changed it to Poilievre because we heard a journalist say that he was asked specifically and said he preferred Poilievre, but now he's introduced himself as Poilievre.
Flip-flop. We got to send him some flip-flops. But old, used up, chewed up, shitty ones that you can't wear anymore. Send him those ones.
George Santos.
And here's the best. You don't even have to put your address on it because they'll get all bent out of shape about people sending them flip-flops. Literally drop it in an envelope, put his address on it, throw it in the mail. You don't even have to pay for it. It'll get directly to him. Feel free. Please.
Yep. Yep. So he basically complains that he can't find his invitation. So, Mr. Grizzly, if you put that up there, we saw this at
You got to blow
first.
it up, can't? Yeah, there we
Yep,
go.
I'm going to do it. There we go. So from Rachel Aiello from CTV, just in via OLO, Polliver would go, but he can't find his invite. Quote, the leader has not refused an invitation. In fact, our office can find no record of having received one to begin with. When this came to our attention, we contacted the U.S. ambassador and expressed our desire to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Oh, hold on. Maybe I can do it this way. Yep, there we go. Hold on.
Nothing.
So then what happened? Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, because I took it off. There you go. PMO. The invitation we sent Mr. Polliver earlier still stands. He remains welcome to attend the dinner tonight. So he's saying he never received an invitation. PMO says he's received one all along. So Rachel Aiello goes, and because now evidently I'm an ice cream and dinner invite reporter, PMO sent me a screenshot that appears to be Polliver's invitation sent to his direct MP account.
Mm-hmm.
All right, March 20. So this message serves as a reminder. If you have already responded, please disregard this email. Dear Honorable Pierre Poilievre, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, is pleased to invite you to a dinner on the occasion of the visit to Canada of the Honorable Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America. The event will take place on Friday, March 24th, 2023 in Ottawa, Ontario. Please confirm your attendance by replying to this email before 5 p.m. on Monday, March 20th, 2023. Once we receive confirmation of your attendance, the formal invitation will be issued, including detailed information regarding registration and access. So, and then Aiello. Lastly, and hopefully my last update on this chapter, Pierre Poilievre is now going to attend the gala. All has been sorted. His office says invite went to an inactive account, describing as an abnormal account to send an invite of this nature to. Anyways, he's getting dinner. So the email went to his MP account. He didn't get it because he is using his personal account.
Didn't they scream something about that south of our border for somebody once doing something along the same lines? Just gonna say that, I think. Oh, Jim put it in the comments. I'm not saying. I'm just putting up what a comment was.
Yep. Everyone else seemed to have noticed the email.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Here's the proof, Mr. Grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have Althea Pierre Polliver, personal. Thank you for your email. I'm no longer monitoring this email. Please call my office at 613-992-2772 to get in touch with me. Now, Althea Raj wonders, I don't get this. This is what you get if you write to Pierre Polliver at P9. So who is at fault here? Oh, so it's the government's fault because they sent it to the address they had on file for him and he's no longer monitoring it now that he's become leader of the opposition?
Well, here's the question too. How long is that response, that auto reply from his personal account, like how long has that auto response been up for? Could have been posted, immediately when he found out his gaffe. We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions.
That is absolutely possible. That is absolutely possible. They could have done that like with the MGTOW thing. Oh crap, like this and deactivate it and then somebody else would try it, right?
They've got a track record of this, right? So
But why are we insinuating that it is the responsibility of the PMO to keep track of opposition leaders' email addresses when they change them? And like this, and to then when they send something out to monitor to see what bounces so that they can call them and say, oh, what's your email address again? If you really want to go to the state dinner, you make sure the PMO has your email.
One would think, right?
Right. And it's not like you don't have staff for this. You got staff that do just this when you're leader of the opposition, booking your calendar. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
Calendar and travel arrangements and calendar and travel arrangements. That's all they do. And media bookings and just
responding to emails. And why is nobody monitoring that email?
And again, right, they weren't aware that they didn't get their invitation yet the day before, or 2 days before, or 3 days before.
It all just
And
stinks
then
now.
inquire about it. They inquire about it like on the day of, moments before. So, they're trying to, the conservatives are trying to spin this, and some media people, as if it's the government's fault now that the invitation didn't get to. It's like, and somebody posted on Twitter, it's like, I apply for a job. The employer sends a message to my email telling me I got the job. I don't check my email. Whose fault is it that I did not get the job?
That would be yours. It's your responsibility to check your email. I'm like, this is not...
Especially if you're waiting on an invitation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's all just very peculiar.
I tell you, man.
I'm having issues this morning.
Oh, man. So, Pierre did not have a very good.
No, he did not.
No, not a very good state visit at all. At all. Things went very, very bad for him. I don't understand this party. Why it is they think that this is the stuff that's going to do it for them. So I don't understand. So, but here's the thing that struck me as really interesting about this, because the party comes along, right? It's being announced. And of course, these types of parties always have other types of guests and dignitaries there, right? Or performers and people from the world of sports and culture and all that kind of stuff that show up. And I was reading about the guest list that was coming to this thing. And performers at the dinner included Alan Doyle from Great Big Sea and Charlotte Cardin, who won the Juno last year as Best New Artist.
I've seen her perform live.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have artists, so they tend to be woke. And then guests include the Emmy Award winner Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, and Oscar winner Sarah Polley. Well, she just made a woke movie about women who are talking because men kind of abused them, MGTOW.
And accepted her award while wearing a man's tuxedo, BT Dub, which would have her banned in Tennessee.
Yes, and Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara won Emmys for starring on a CBC show, so that's probably a little too woke for him. And then other guests confirmed are Egal's Helen Kennedy, Olympian Diana Matheson, Nathalie Prevost of Police Se Souvient, Joanna Griffiths, the CEO of NYX, Patricia Gauthier, CEO of Moderna, and Kimali Powell, the CEO of Rainbow Railroad. So there'll be woke people from the world of the arts, including woke francophone artists, a woke woman who made a film about women who woke up and started talking, guests from Equality for Gays and Lesbians Everywhere, woke by definition, woke female athletes who believe in pay equity, woke gun crime survivors who want more gun control, a woke female CEO, another woke female CEO, including one who supports vaccines, and Rainbow Railroad, also woke by definition. Gee, no wonder Skippy didn't want to attend.
It's too much for him. Way too much for him.
Gee, that's a lot of woke per square foot in a room. He can't deal. He just can't handle it. That's the thing. Poor dear. It's just too much. And then you had Bruce Anderson comment on just how bad it was. Right. So basically, Skippy blew it because you can always count on conservatives to do something stupid to win the media nanosecond. And all they care is about getting that clip that they'll circulate with CPC-approved framing that it's in some way out of context to get for their fundraising. So you got Bruce Anderson here, who states, "It was a pretty good day for the government, but somehow the Conservatives managed to find ways to make it even better. After a week with the Liberals on the ropes, the Conservatives managed to diss women and the U.S. president and renew their crusade for anti-vaxxers." There you go. And apparently, This is the next one. Then you have James Wooten. This one's a little fuzzy, and I can't blow it up more, unfortunately. But Scheer slow clapping President Biden's speech. That was another moment.
My question, was he on Quaaludes? Because that looked like a lewd clap, if you ask me.
Yeah. Then you have Poliver lecturing President Biden on the meaning of loyal opposition, con MPs remaining seated on gender diversity, Poliver's guess who might or might not be coming to dinner confusion, all in all, an embarrassing day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pretty much. So, for they were so concerned about winning the moment that they screwed up the entire weekend for themselves.
It's the nanosecond that they need to win.
Yeah. And as Linda M says, they even gave Biden woke chocolate.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. And then you had Skippy going off trying to make do for this weekend by going to this big, I'm standing with the women of Iran type rally. And it's like, should we remind everybody that a couple of years ago, you said nothing as the leader of your party was proposing a snitch line for the people you say that you're standing for today?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's not good. It's not good.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. As Tim says, you can tell he had a bad day because his supporters are making up lies about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the visit. And talking about people that are having bad days, Global TV.
Yeah, they're in the shit. I mean, they are in the shit.
They are in the shit. Actually, you know what? Before we move to Global TV, I think we need another palate cleanser provided by our good friend Stormy Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, sex with Stormy Daniels is traumatic enough. Hasn't President Trump been punished enough? Stormy Daniels, I think he needs another spanking.
Well, I got another palate cleanser for you here. Ms. Dolly Parton. I dress more provocative and risque than any drag queen in Tennessee. Lord, I hope they don't outlaw me.
Mm-hmm. Costs a lot of money to look that cheap.
It does.
That's what Dolly says. She says all the time, it takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
A lot of money and effort.
Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah. So Global TV. That sound you are hearing, children, is the sound of a truck backing itself the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, 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 oh man. It started with Michael Chong.
Yeah.
Was the first. He put out a tweet. So Chantal Hébert had published an article, an opinion piece, if you'll put it up, Mr. Grizzly. Here it said, think intelligence agencies always get it right? Well, here's why you should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe doubt that, I guess. And it's Maher Arar. Photo of Maher Arar. And of course, she talks about, instances in the recent past in which our intelligence agencies got it wrong. And let's also remember that members of the convoy also said that CSIS leaked information to them.
As did the,
we don't know if that's true or not.
The convoy lawyer was the one who told us that. We still don't know if that's 100% accurate or not, but nevertheless.
But again, one more thing that doesn't increase our confidence, right, in the group. Or at least doesn't make us predisposed to just taking whatever they're going to say at cash value. Michael Chong, I agree with Chantal. We must be careful. Oh, now you must be careful. Intelligence agencies sometimes get it wrong. Oh, yeah, sometimes. But up until then, you were all saying that everything that was coming up in those newspaper reports was confirmation of something that actually did happen. But now sometimes they get it wrong, as with Maher and Iraq weapons of mass destruction. But sometimes they get it right, as with PCO, Haiyan Zhang, and Russia's invasion. That's why we must pursue this until we get some basic facts. Now you care about basic facts. You mean all of this stuff that you guys have been doing for the last week and a half hasn't been based on basic facts? Is this an admission?
Certainly seems like it.
And here's the thing that I'm not quite understanding about that, because he says, if we had basic facts. And, well, I'm thinking to myself, don't you?
They should. I mean, isn't that, they should get briefed.
Isn't,
They do get a daily briefing, do they not?
well, yes, but isn't the whole point of the NSICOP, right, the National Security Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians,
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be so that parliamentarians sit on that
Mm-hmm.
and they have the security clearance and they get to see all of the documentation that would contain or not the basic facts and get briefings as they would want, so that therefore they could go to their party and say, you've got nothing to worry about here, or you do have something to worry about here? Like, isn't that the whole purpose?
Well, I think so. I don't work in government, but I would have to believe that would be the case. Correct me if I'm
Well,
wrong.
here we go, Mr. Grizzly. Dale Smith responds to Michael Chong, if only there was a mechanism by which security cleared parliamentarians could get access to intelligence documents and determine basic facts. Oh, wait. NSICOP. To which it's like, I just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if only conservatives were part of that mechanism, NSICOP, so that they could see these intelligence documents and assure their party of basic facts. Oh, wait. These are the current committee members of NSICOP. We have the Honourable David J. McGinty, who's the chair, Stéphane Bergeron from the Bloc, Don Davies from the NDP, Ikra Khalid from the Liberals, the Honourable Francis Lankin, who's a senator, Patricia Latanzio from the Liberals, James Maloney, I believe, is also from the Liberals, and Rob Morrison,
Conservative.
political affiliation Conservative, and Alex Ruff, great name, Conservative. So, Messieurs Alex Ruff and Messieurs Rob Morrison, why has no journalist asked them a question about what documentation they say they saw and how they relayed that information back to their party and what their party did with it? You have the basic facts. This is not about conservatives not having basic facts. They have the same information as everybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they're doing with it.
Well, they're trying to weaponize it and say, well, we didn't know. But when we can turn around and say, but you have access to the information that you need. So don't tell me you didn't know.
He's telling you then. Aren't you? No, the two MPs can't say everything either.
No.
But they should be able to go to the party that says we've seen the documents and everything's fine.
This is the thing.
Or everything's not fine.
Whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. But they're the people that are supposed to be like the adults of the adults in the room and go back to, no, there really is nothing here. You need to pull this back.
Well, it makes one beg the question, and I'm going to postulate a small little theoretical here, if you will. Makes one beg the question of, in past governments, they all have access to this, right? All opposition leaders, official opposition leaders, and all other oppositions. They all have access to this because at the end of the day, their concern is the security of our country. And here's where my theoretical comes in. And it's not theory, but theoretical. I'm postulating that they don't seem to care about the country because they have the access to the information, but they ignore it. Just asking questions.
Mhm.
So do they care about our country? Do they care about the security of the country? No, they only care about power. How to get it, how to keep it, how to exploit it, how to put money in their pockets and the pockets of their wealthy developer friends. That's all they care about. They don't care about Canada, the security of the nation, obviously, because they sold us out to China for 31 years. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove it to me that I'm wrong, and I will humbly accept that I was incorrect. Again, theoretical. But it, when all the arrows point to the location on the map that pinpoints where they're seated, you know, one would tend to follow the arrows to, oh, look, that's where they're seated. Oh, okay. Definitely not at the seat of the security of this nation.
Nope.
Again, I'm just asking questions. It's fun to throw their own words in their face, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is enjoyable.
Yes. What are your priorities?
Do you care about the safety of this nation? I wonder.
Because if you do, we're not seeing it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. We're not seeing it at all.
Yeah, we're not seeing it at all. Interesting news. Oh, let's have another palate cleanser. As you know, a couple of days ago was World International Bear Day.
Yes, it was.
And yes, and we have something. Somebody has a photo of a bear that asked to write a story in 6 words or fewer.
Mr. Grizzly will teach civics now.
Polar bear sitting at a picnic table.
No, just a grizzly bear sitting at a picnic table.
Grizzly bear, yes. Yes, you had the great response about a polar bear, Mr. Grizzly.
A polar bear would have service by now. That's actually not a grizzly, that's a black bear. So,
That's a black bear. Yes.
So that's the joke, right? The black bear is waiting for service. The polar bear would have service by now because the polar bear is white. I didn't come up with that on my own. I saw that once before and I thought it was funny. So I couldn't believe nobody else had already written it. So I'm like, oh, I got to throw it in.
I couldn't believe either. It was so funny. I hadn't even thought of it at all.
It's a meme from years ago. And it's literally the same photo. And the meme is, if I was a polar bear, I would have service already, wouldn't I?
Oh, man. Jeez. Well, anyway, with the China thing, before we move on to others, it seems pretty clear to me that after witnessing the manner in which Canadian media is failing with that, it seems pretty clear to me that David Johnson should probably recognize in his Rapporteur report that we need to set industry standards about how it is that we report on intelligence. And we should look into whether or not the People's Republic of China, my purpose in life is to serve as a warning to others, whether the People's Republic of China also had media targets. Because, I mean, if you're going to have an influence campaign, I mean, why would you limit yourself only to politicians? You'd have some people in business and you'd have some people in media as well, wouldn't you?
One would think, yes.
One would think. So, yes, it started with Michael Chong sort of putting in the little backup. And then there was this interesting tweet by Evan Scrimshaw, who basically, and of course, I lost it.
Of course. Evan's writing on this subject has been really fascinating. I've been following it along. I mean, he's a great writer to begin with.
Yes.
And I still, when I read his writing, I'm like, wow. And we interviewed Evan, and I did not realize how young he was.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very young man, but holy crap, his insight is good. And his writing is great. He's a very smart young man. Very smart young man. And he's all over it. And I love that he does not pick a side. He doesn't. He my favorite kind of writer, much like Chantal Hébert, they will point out the screw-ups and whatever side of government, it doesn't matter. Going to point out what somebody's done that's not good. And his last column, like you said, Linda, was brilliant. It really was. The conjecture that was thrown forth about did Mr. Handong say this or did he say that? And it's like, if Bob Fife wouldn't run with it, the Globe and Mail wouldn't run with it, maybe Global should have done a little bit more due diligence. And they are in, what's the saying? They're in the lobster pot right now. And that water, she's getting hot real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I got to get some more coffee.
Yep.
Because I'm running low. Yes, you were.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to post?
Yep. Go.
Yeah. Okay.
I did, but you know what? Go do that, and I'll get back to that.
Okay. You're gonna be solo here for a minute.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the end of that. So there you go. So yeah, we'll get back to what Evan Scrimshaw had to post on that. And in the meantime, let me take you to a little bit what is going on in Israel as we're waiting for Mr. Grizzly to come back. In Israel, President Benjamin Netanyahu, or Prime Minister, I think it's Prime Minister, yes, Benjamin Netanyahu, has had to form a coalition with the hard right parties, like extremely hard right parties, in order to be able to form a majority that would allow them to govern. Because Israel, I think, had 5 elections where they tried to. Well, the parties in their system couldn't manage to make a government that did not include him work long enough for him to actually go away. And now that he's become the prime minister again, his first move with these very, very hard far-right parties is to change, well, basically to introduce a package of judicial reforms that would do things such as allow the parliament to have a greater say in who the justices of the Supreme Court is, and as well as override a decision by the Supreme Court. So it would give the Knesset the power to override a decision by the Supreme Court with a simple majority vote. These seem to be policies that Netanyahu is pursuing for the specific purpose of keeping his own ass out of jail, because he's being pursued for various charges. I can't remember them off the top of my head what it is, and he's been fighting them. But there's been a break in his cabinet. Yoav Gallant, who's Israel's defense minister, basically the top minister in his cabinet, said that there should be a pause in the plan to pass the judicial reform package. Now, he says he is a right-winger, but he believes that these types of reforms should be achieved through negotiation and not imposition. He says that the process has become divisive, and it has become so divisive that it's showing up in the military, the nation's military, which is dangerous for national security. Now, you have to understand that the country of Israel has a declaration of independence, but it has no constitution specifically. Netanyahu fired his minister of defense for having said that, which prompted a round of spontaneous protests. Now, there have been protests going on in Israel for closing in on 12 weeks since the people of Israel have found out about this plan, and they do not like it whatsoever. The plan also includes attempts to basically take over more settlements in the occupied territories as well, evicting people and that type of thing. And that's already started in new construction builds in areas where there shouldn't have been, where there's not supposed to be any, so that they could be, overpopulated with people of the Jewish faith to try and minimize or dilute the Palestinian component. So Netanyahu...
A bit apartheid-like, isn't it?
Yes, quite. Which again is ironic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you do know the last nation to sign on to the anti-apartheid move?
Was Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they never even signed on.
So the head of the largest union has also joined the protests, and it seems that there will be a national strike in which over 700,000 employees will not show up to work. Hundreds of reserve officers have refused to turn up for training, including pilots, drone operators, intelligence officers, and even doctors. It seems that Netanyahu, even though he did fire, well, he said that the government is still on track to pass the reforms this week. But it seems that earlier today he might have announced that he's planning, or that he had the intent to announce that there would be some type of freeze on his plan. So we're waiting to see how that is. But this is something that he can easily do and ram through. And there's been 12 weeks of protest and lots of international embarrassment, lots of international condemnation. Basically, civil society in Israel is basically saying that if he goes ahead with this, Israel will no longer be a democratic nation, because there will be no checks and balances for the government. If you can if you have a majority and you can override every Supreme Court decision against you with a simple majority vote, you have no law.
Yeah, that's not good. You
have no law. All right, so that's what's going on down there. Getting back to what's going on over here. We have this tweet from Evan Scrimshaw, where he takes a clip of Robert Benzie on CTV's Question Period. And he basically says, governance frames this as being the knives are out for global.
The one thing that I would caution, Vashi, is intelligence is not evidence. And I think that we lose sight of that. And if we learned one thing, Mariko was talking about the Rouleau inquiry into the convoy protest. We know that CSIS didn't do a really good job spying on Pat King, so I'm not really sure CSIS has done a great job spying on Beijing. So I think I'd be really, really careful about what we see in any of these reports. I mean, I take what CSIS says with a big grain of salt. We all remember what happened to Mayor Arar. So I think we have to be really, really careful.
Now, this is interesting because this CTV is owned by Bell Globe Media, which is Bob Fife's thing. Yes. Yeah. Bob and Fife's thing. Now, Andrew Coyne, for some reason, has mysteriously stopped commenting
about
it.
Did he get slapped?
Mm-hmm.
Did he get slapped on the wrist about that? Maybe, you think, a little bit, perhaps?
And perhaps it's possible. I mean, we can't. Robert Fife doesn't seem to be commenting on it. On, I think it was March 14th, Mr. Fife had, March 14th, March 24th, I should say, Mr. Fife had only one tweet on his Twitter feed for that entire day. Sorry, March 23rd, I think it is. Yep, there we go.
Huh.
Mr. Grizzly, if you would. So, March 22nd, David Johnson, the right man to whitewash Chinese interference. Retweeting a National Post thing. Robert Fife, March 23rd, his only tweet for that day. Senate sat at 2 p.m. and adjourned at 2 a.m. No statements, no question period. That's it. Nothing until March 24th. And then March 24th is the Trudeau government decided CSIS transcript of MP Hang Dong provided no actionable evidence.
Okay.
Whiplash. Oh.
Yep.
Oh. Where did we go from is David Johnson the right man to whitewash Chinese interference to Trudeau government decided CSIS transcript of MP Hang Dong provided no actionable evidence as published in the Globe and Mail? 2 tweets later. 2 days later, but just 2 tweets later.
It's all a little peculiar.
Mm-hmm. And you know what everybody's talking about again? $6,000 for a hotel room.
Of course. You know what?
They're back.
Having dinner with my parents last night, and I said, why do they keep going back to this trough? And my dad just goes, because they've got nothing else.
Nothing
I'm
else.
like, and then, of course, I pointed out, and I go, well, and had Harper not sold off Canada House, where diplomats and foreign, visiting dignitaries would stay, had he not sold that off for $500 million, he could have stayed there and there'd be no $6,000 hotel room. And it's not like the prime minister picks where he stays. First off, the Buckingham Palace told people where they were going to stay because it was a secured zone. The RCMP approves the security for that zone and then says, yeah, we'll stay there. It was the death of the sovereign queen. People like, come on. But they seem to forget about Candy Bergen moving into Stornoway for what, 6 months, costing us what, $30,000 in moving costs,
$19,000 or something like that, moving costs, and
$3,000 for sheets
and linens and all that kind of stuff. Yep, exactly. Yep, you know it. So here we go, Mr. Grizzly. More of that. When China fails, despite peak pricing, high demand, low supply, captive market, everybody taking what they could get, and, of course, the British Foreign Office making the arrangements, conservatives are still not able to quit $6,000 per night for a hotel room. Well, about that.
Yeah.
Do we remember Harper's baseball trip that hit taxpayers with $45,000 tab? April 14th, 2012. Or do we remember the bill for Stephen Harper's annual Arctic trips top $3.4 million? And we still don't know what he did after all those trips because he didn't actually build anything there, did he?
No. And let's not forget the $2 million artificial lake they built for a G8 conference.
Mm-hmm. And, well, this was the article that says that everything was determined. The Foreign Office, which is arranging the arrival of heads of state and other guests from abroad, has declined to comment on operational issues. So it isn't even the PMO who made the plans. Oh yes, London hotels raise prices as demand soars before Queen's funeral. The price of some accommodation has apparently increased by more than 300%. Monday, September 12th.
And you're right about that, Rihanna. No matter what, it was a losing situation. And my parents are getting sick of this because my dad is, he always leaned conservative. He's never told me who he's voted for, and he never will. My mother has staunchly been liberal her entire life. I vote for who I feel is my best MP. But my father is sick of this garbage. He's like, look, I'm no fan of Justin Trudeau, but this is ridiculous. Like, this is getting ridiculous. They keep going back to the same trough. It's like, okay, come on. We've already put that one to bed. We have to bring out all the facts and figures as to why that costs $6,000. And they're like, well, you asked Bev Oda to step down over $17 orange or $16 orange juice. No.
No. But that's something, right? That's the other thing that's been going out, right? They've been saying, oh, yeah, now let's look at the hypocrisy. Trudeau demanded she resign for $16 orange juice. No. She was forced to resign because she believed that her smoking habit entitled her to have hotel upgrades, and she really liked limos. That glass of OJ was just the drop that made it spill over.
That's all it was. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, the proverbial drop of OJ, last drop of OJ.
But it's true though. I mean, she because she liked to smoke or was addicted. I don't call it whatever you want. She smoked. She always upgraded her hotel rooms so she could have a room that she could smoke in.
Yep.
And boy, did she like her limos.
Oh, did she ever? So yeah, they're back to $6,000 hotel rooms, and then they're back to things like this, Mr. Grizzly, because there's always got to be some counter programming. So PP, during his time with the president, again, apparently, well, he says that he bitched about Keystone again.
Mm.
I don't think he actually did. I think he's just saying that because
he's spineless. We all know that.
It was his first day move. Your first day move is one you're pretty much committed to. You're not coming back on that. I don't know why if you've got like the most valuable resource a president or a prime minister has or a premier has is time. So if you get a portion of their time, why would you use it talking about Keystone? You know you're not going to get anywhere. That's a total waste of time. I bet you he's just saying he did. He didn't. But here's this thing. Here we go. Today would be a good day for Trudeau's tearful apology for leaving the borders open to COVID and failing to deliver enough vaccines in January and February, resulting in the third wave. That was on the 22nd of April, 2021. But now, millions of good, decent Canadians are blocked from traveling to the U.S. because of vaccine mandates that protect no one. I encourage President Biden to lift these mandates so our people have the freedom to travel across the border. Oh, now suddenly he does knows that going to the U.S. border is a Biden thing and not a Trudeau thing. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. And here he's encouraging President Biden to open the border so people could go back in. But then it was like, that would be a
Close
good
the
day
border
for Trudeau to apologize for leaving the borders open to COVID. And he was, ever get the impression that Skippy's got split personality issues?
I mean, I'm no
Or multiple
psychiatrist,
personality?
but
I mean, how to explain that he goes to certain rallies and then all the photos that he gets are with people that kind of look like me, and then he goes to certain other rallies and all the people that he takes pictures with look like you? How do you explain that one day he's for closing the borders and the next day he's for opening them? How do you explain that?
It's all about the nanosecond. That's it. That's
Over
it.
like 8 years after Obama canceled Keystone the first time, he's still on it. How do you explain that?
There's no explanation. He's a little shit of a man.
How do you explain that one day he denies Christine Anderson and the next day sends his MPs to go out and lunch with her? How do you explain the fact that
Jim's got it right. Nanosecond. Win the nanosecond.
But it's like every single individual moment, if you take them individually and in isolation, that's one thing. But if you put them all together, there's no coherence. The things that are said one day don't match with the other. And nobody in the media, again, is looking at the entire picture, the composite picture of him. They report every single nanosecond.
We're looking at it, and we're not in the media. We're just a couple of guys with microphones. And I mean, really, it's getting to the point that the question needs to be postulated. Is this what we want to represent our nation on the world stage? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I want somebody with a backbone. I want somebody with convictions. I want somebody with, even though I'm not going to agree with everything that they agree with, I want somebody who will stand up and not flip-flop every 3 minutes to win the nanosecond. I want somebody who plays the long game for this country and the citizens of it. All people who live here. I met a guy last night, had a brief chat with him. He's still trying to get his landed immigrant status after 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him and I go, "You've lived in Ottawa for 9 years?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "So 9 Ottawa winters and 9 Ottawa summers, and you still want to stay?" He goes, "Yeah, I love it here." And I go, let's just give you citizenship right now. Just give him citizenship. Come on.
This guy's proved he's Canadian.
9 Ottawa winters and 9 Ottawa summers. Trust me, if you can do that and still want to stay here, you're Canadian.
Yep.
You're Canadian.
So we have Pierre Poliver's thing. Millions of good, decent Canadians are blocked from traveling to the U.S. because of vaccine mandates that protect no one. I encourage President Biden to lift these mandates so our people have the freedom to travel across the border. Mr. Grizzly, if you would. I was feeling a little bitchy. And then Biden laughed. Virtue signaling. I mean, why are we the only ones that are virtue signaling? Isn't this virtue signaling?
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Completely. Totally. 100%.
No, he's not signaling actual
There's no virtue, but
I mean,
it's the same thing.
But I told Putin to get out of Russia, to get out of Ukraine. Stephen Harper, you did no shit.
You did nothing of the sort.
Nothing of the sort. Oh, man. Let's talk about, we've had some people leave us. We have a little political in memoriam section.
Oh, do we?
Yes. Out of the blue, for some reason, with no warning whatsoever, this lady, who we have no love for, decided she no longer wanted to be an MPP. Merrily, selling seniors and children down the river, has decided she no longer wants to be with Doug Ford.
Okay, I'm going to point out something here.
Mm-hmm.
And just hang on. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
So look at the very first photo on
Right.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
one, right?
that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then go to the one in the middle.
Yep.
Do you see how much stress is placed on a person in Doug Ford's cabinet?
Yep.
I mean, in the first picture, she looks like she's a
supermodel.
Well, not only that, but I mean, she looks happy and content with her
TV
life.
news anchor. Like this here too. Beautiful.
Very attractive
skin.
woman. But that's not what I'm getting at. I'm looking at the difference in the stress levels. That shows in your face when you work for a hateful, greedy group of pricks.
Yep, absolutely. So she's gone. No real reason as to why now.
She hit the she killed off enough seniors. It's time. She hit her quota. Is that what it is?
Well,
was that harsh? Was that harsh? That was pretty harsh, wasn't it? You know what? Calling it like I see it.
Well, here's the thing. The thing that I couldn't understand is, one, she was put in charge of seniors and failed miserably. And then he put her in charge of children.
It's just all bad.
You put her in charge of children. Children.
You are correct,
After the
Jim.
most seniors.
You are correct, Jim, but I am still trying to highlight the stress levels that one experiences in a role of that nature. That's, it's an incredibly stressful job, despite what many people think. Look, as much as I despise and physically hate Pierre Poliver, I don't question for a second he puts in the hours.
Oh, yeah.
All MPs do.
Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah, it's a thing.
His travel schedule alone will be enough to crush the average person. I can still hate him for being who he is because he's a terrible human being. He's a terrible person. But let's be honest. He puts the time in. It's not time well spent because he's ripping apart the country so he can win the nanosecond. He doesn't give a shit as long as he wins, but he does put the effort in. I have to respect that.
Yeah.
I don't respect what he's doing, but I can respect the effort he puts into it.
Yeah. Then we get to Alberta. To the constituents of Grand Prairie Wapiti, after much deliberation and prayerful consideration, I have decided not to seek re-election. I do, however, remain deeply committed to the Conservative movement, the United Conservative Party, and to its success this May. It has been a tremendous privilege to serve the people of Grand Prairie Wapiti as their MLA and Albertans broadly as their Minister of Finance. Kim and I have been humbled by the support of so many in our region and across this great province. Thank you. We want to extend a special thank you to our family and close friends for your unwavering support. It has been an honor to serve Travis Taze.
Mm-hmm.
We have another case of political whiplash here. I mean, he ran to be the leader of the UCP, was named its finance minister under Dan Old Yeller, or Old Dan Yeller Smith, or Marjorie Taylor Smith. And now, fewer than 6 months from her becoming the leader, 2 months and a couple of days prior to the election, when he's the Minister of Finance, the number 2, he doesn't want to run anymore.
What is that? Somebody promised him a cushy job in the private sector?
Or maybe he just has had enough of Danielle.
Yeah, that's possible too.
And
anything's possible.
And you know what else happened? This lady too. No sooner did Travis Taze announce that I'm out of here, So did Sonia Savage,
Hmm.
the Minister of Energy.
So the rats are leaving the sinking ship?
That's a lot of conservative scurrying in about 48 hours. Fullerton in Ontario, Taze and Savage, 3 ministers in the 2 of the worst conservative provincial governments in the country. One has 3 more years to go with a majority. Merrily had enough. And the other 2 is about to go into an election that they hope to win, hope to get a majority, where they would be saddled with their current leader for another 4 years. Fight, 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 fight. The body count in conservative circles has been higher in the last 24 hours than a Friday the 13th movie. Jason Voorhees is getting jealous. It's so sad to see you go. You'll be missed. I'm sorry. We're supposed to speak, not supposed to speak ill of the politically dead.
Gonna shift gears here for a split second. I got another one from Stormy Daniels for you.
Oh, okay.
Another Stormy Daniels. Why did you sleep with him even though you knew he had a wife? Why did he invite me to his room, take off his clothes, and corner me when I came into the bathroom, even though he knew he had a wife?
Yeah. He knew he had a wife. And I think a baby on the way.
No, she just gave birth.
She just gave birth. Yes.
Yeah. She had just recently given birth at that point in time. So yeah.
I really love Bitchy Beaver. Thank you, kids. You so validate me. Oh man. It has been a busy weekend for news, Mr. Grizzly. There's been a lot going on, clearly. Let's see, what else have I got here? That's right. I missed a couple of things very quickly. Oh, this is the thing from Evan Scrimshaw that I wanted to show that I could not find earlier. That's just great. Global TV has a weekend show called The West Block, hosted by Mercedes Stevenson. So Global didn't repeat their accusation about Han Dong on The West Block this morning. They broke the political story of the week and didn't cover it on their own show. That's very odd.
How peculiar.
Beep, 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 beep.
Backing up the truck.
It's amazing how a defamation suit changes the programming on networks all of a sudden and what gets published in newspapers.
Well.
Oh man, I tell you, man. Over the weekend, there was some curling, my friends. The LTG Women's World Championships of Curling, and Team Canada did not disappoint. Team Einarson, Carrie Einarson, ended up taking home the bronze medal. They are 4-time Canadian champions, and they've had an interesting go because, last year there was no World Championship. It was canceled immediately after the Canadians had won. And then I think there was something else that happened. So they've won 4 times, but I think they've only gotten to go to the Worlds twice. So they are repeat bronze medalists. And the ice was kind of weird.
Oh, how so?
If you had been watching it, there were the first few days. Okay, the first few days, the ice was weird, a bit on the sides, but then as the week went on, it got better there. But paths down the middle, the pebble would come off really quickly, and then rocks would start to pick or scrub. They would be going at a certain speed and then just dive. So it was very tricky for all the players. And Canada seemed to have a little more difficulty in winning games as the week went on. But in the round robin and for the bronze medal game, they defeated Sweden to win the bronze. And they were very close to playing for gold, but there was a disastrous ninth end in their qualification game against Norway, in which Norway ended up scoring 4 because, again, one of the rocks just scrubbed all the weight on the way. It was going very well, and it just died. So they couldn't quite figure out what was going on there. But bronze, that probably felt like gold, given the conditions and given the fact that, last year they won and they didn't even get the privilege of going to the World Championships. So, they had to win again. So, when you win 2 or 3 championships back to back to get the chance to go once, and it's like, it probably felt like gold. So congratulations to the team, and congratulations also to Jennifer Jones and her husband Brett Lang, who won the Canadian mixed doubles national championship together. And they both have a lot of trophies in their case. It's not like they needed another one, but they're going to go to the World Championships as the mixed doubles championship, and that's a pretty good team, because they're both world champions, and I believe both Olympic champions in their 4-person teams. So that looks like a pretty powerful combination to win the mixed doubles. So there you go. I believe that's pretty much everything for today, Mr. Grizzly. What do you think?
Well, I've got one. I guess I missed.
Oh,
there was an online Zoom class. No, there was an online Zoom class we all could have taken part in, but it seems I missed it. It was last year. I'll just put it right up here in the screen. It was a free event too. Online.
I wonder why. Escaping masturbation masterclass. Now there's some interesting marketing there. How to kick the habit for good and tap into your God-given purity. I mean, tap into masterclass on escaping masturbation.
Yeah, I know. Yourpuritycoach.com. And it's like, so the first tweet I see on this is, so a Zoom class on not masturbating. Is this the opposite of watching a cam girl?
Wouldn't that be a Zoom out class? Kit Linda, I wonder how many people masturbated while they attended. I just can't quit you.
I don't know what the purpose of that class is. And look, to each their own, right?
But you see these videos on TikToks, right, of these young born again Christians. It's like, oh my God, I used to be masturbating all the time, and I can't believe all the time I lost. Now I've got time to read and do social good, and my palms are less hairy, and it's such a great thing. You just feel so much more connected to your Lord, and jerking for Jesus. Oh my God. For the love of fuck. You kids are
I'm not putting that
blame climate change.
I'm not putting that up, Jim. Sorry.
You people are terrible. I love you. You guys are awful, and I approve. Holy crap. Oh, shit.
I'm not putting that one on the screen.
Oh, I dare you.
Nope. I do not want the heat that can bring. Thank you.
I love you kids. Oh, man. You're twisted like I am. I love it. Okay. Let's get we had some various things before as we're leaving. Our favorite our favorite Battle of the Blades contestant, or Battle of the Not Sharpest Blades contestant, Théo Fleury. Everyone's welcome. The unvaccinated weren't welcomed anywhere during the pandemic. Well, of course they were welcome to all the
plandemic.
Oh yes,
he wrote plandemic.
Yes, plandemic. Well, I seem to remember that they were welcome every place where people could get vaccinated. I believe that people were waiting for them with arms open, like, come to me, little children, come, you are welcome here. And it was free. They were welcome to the place where everybody was getting vaccinated, and it was free. But they made a choice to not go to that place where they would be welcome. And given that all choices come with consequences, and they knew what the consequences were before, well,
They
most
want to
of
live
the
consequence free.
but they chose their consequences. So why are you whining? You chose your own adventure. It was like Deal or No Deal, and you chose suitcase number 17. It had, you don't take the vaccine, but you don't get to go anywhere.
Pretty simple.
There were 25 other cases to choose from. 24, I should say.
Speaking of cases, I put this in our headline this morning, and I'm following it online. It's the Marburg virus outbreak in 2 different countries that are almost 3,000 kilometers apart, which is very scary. Marburg is so close to Ebola, they're virtually indistinguishable from one another. And there's no vaccine for Marburg. There is for Ebola. They have a vaccine that they're working on, but it's not fully fleshed out or put out into the diaspora. But it's the concern of the Marburg virus. If if that gets out and it becomes airborne, we're all in deep trouble. It will make COVID look like the sniffles.
Right.
I am following this because I have friends in Tanzania, and I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it spreads fast. But the thing about Marburg, unlike COVID, there's no asymptomatic symptoms. It's not asymptomatic. You get it, you get sick within like hours, and its fatality rate is incredibly high.
Yeah. Another little tidbit. While President Joe Biden was in town, he brought a couple of people with him, and I found out later that this person was in town. And I'm almost more excited that she was in town than Joe Biden. House Leader Anthony Housefather said, "An incredibly partisan world, a bipartisan approach to foreign policy and defense are key. Today, my friends John McKay, Tom Kimmick, who's Michael Chong, both Kimmick and Michael Chong are conservative MPs, had an amazingly productive, almost 2-hour discussion with our amazing American ally, Senator Amy Klobuchar."
Oh,
Amy
cool.
was in town. I love Amy. It's like, yeah, Joe, that's nice. Let's hear what Amy has to say. I love her. She's another no nonsense, and she was someone that the January the Republicans tried to embarrass, I believe, when they were doing the questioning of Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court because he likes to drink and there was alcoholism in her family.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to rub that in her face, and she just handled them. So I like Amy. I like Amy a lot. All right, Mr. Grizzly, I believe that is absolutely everything that I have for today. Do we have a show?
I think we do.
Okay, we have a show. I have a couple of announcements before we go. Our good friends James DeFiore just came on and says, "Douglas, feel free to announce your new part-time gig with Blackballed."
So that's cool.
I'm in demand. So it seems that I am now will be with the folks on Around the Horn weekly and part-time because it is Friday evenings and sometimes I have plays and I'm on stage and stuff like that. I will be co-hosting the Casual Fridays on Blackballed.
Cool.
James, because that's our good friend Mr. Otter has taken on other duties. So I will do that. I will do my best to be casual and not too political on Fridays. James and I are a bit yin and yang in some ways, but I think we're a lot
That's
more
what
similar.
makes it interesting.
Yeah, but we're a lot more similar as well.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a lot of things in common as well. So I think it will work very well. I'm probably going to need a crash course in some basic producer duties while he takes some smoke breaks so the place doesn't fall apart. But yeah, I'm going to try this and hopefully it will be a good thing because I like Casual Fridays. It's a
good time. It's a good time.
Yeah. So, I will be joining, and thank you very much, James, for the invitation to join you. I really appreciate it, because I actually wrote last Friday and said, "Is there one?" Because our good friend Kit Mel had a bottle of Frisky Beaver wine. I've written to them, asked them, I am sensing a promotion opportunity. But this eager beaver is frisky. So so I wrote in and said, "Hey, is there a casual Friday? I'm ready." And it's like, "No, there isn't one today." It's like, "Oh, okay." So yes, James is retooling his show as well, to get better audio and better camera, because it was detracting a bit from the quality of his work, and a lot of people weren't maybe getting the full benefit of all the work that he puts into his interviews and his questions.
True.
Because you're straining to the listener, you get a little distracted. So I think that this is a good move on his part. It's really going to highlight the quality of his work that was there from the get-go.
Agreed,
And
because
it's only been improving over the years.
well, we had a chat yesterday about it, and I said, I've been missing the show. He's like, yeah, I got new mic, new camera, some new lighting. I'm like, this is great, because it'll just improve it. Because, I mean, here's the thing: if you listen to the audio only version, the engagement,
it's great.
Right?
But sometimes they sound so far away.
Yeah, and when you're watching, the camera, it's like, so he's upgrading everything, camera, mic, internet connectivity. So yeah, this is, we're going to see the quality of the work will be totally reflected in the visual aspect of it now.
You have Kit Linda M says there may be conflict. Douglas is too nice to kick anyone out. Oh, Linda, no.
That's not true. That's not true.
I kicked my best friend of 26 years out of my apartment once. For good. I was helping him while he had a tough time, and there were rules, and those rules were not respected at all. Certain things and certain people were not supposed to be in my unit, and then I was supposed to go away for the weekend, and something happened with the travel where the trip got canceled, and I came back home. Yeah. Let's just say that was it was and he didn't think I was going to do it either, and I was thinking, like, we've been best friends for 26 years, and every time I told you, if you do X, Y will happen, and you've done X, Y has happened. Why did you think it would be different this time?
Just like some people feel that way.
I grabbed his things and I put them in the hallway. This beaver can kick people out. I guess, and he was gone away, and I basically gave him a call and says, you might want to come back, because you left because you thought this was a power move, but your stuff is in the hallway right now. So if you want it to still be there in the morning, wherever it is you're going with your friends right now that you brought home, you should probably let them go by themselves, and you should probably come back. So he did come back, and then the next day I let him sleep over, and then the next day, while he was going to put the stuff in the car, he says, well, I need the keys to come back up and down from the garage. So you can buzz.
Ooh, you can be quite catty, can't you?
So yeah, I can kick people out. Don't worry about it.
So I gotta ask, because I'm working on my lighting all the time. How does my lighting look right now? Is it okay? Is it good? Like, I'm looking for input here, because I'm trying to fix it and work on it, because this is what it looks like. If you look, hang on, I'll just let's just maximize that image. This is how many lights I currently have on me, not including the 3, like under this, there's another light. There's another light. There's another. So I'm constantly working on it.
Yeah. And we have more news, because we've been plotting and scheming. There is an election going on in Prince Edward Island, and we will be talking about it in future shows. But there's also an election coming in Alberta on May 29th. And we've been plotting and scheming. We wrote some people who we respect very much from the podcast called The Breakdown. And we wrote people from Albertistan, Albertistan podcast, and both of them have agreed to participate in this venture. We're also waiting to hear from Max Fawcett and David Kleiman-Haga, who we've had on the show. And maybe we'll run it by Lachlan. I'm not sure how keen he would be to participate in this, but maybe he would. But we will be doing, given that there's an election coming in Alberta on May 29th, we will be doing a series of Alberta panels coming up to the election. We will have at least 3 dates on weekends. Right now we're looking at the weekend we're looking at 3 wins. We'll confirm them. 3, potentially 4. I know that Mr. Grizzly can only commit to 3, where we will do every 2 weeks a panel. And then if we can work it out with the network on the evening of the 29th, do a live election broadcast like we did for the federal thing. So have an election special with our panelists from Alberta. We would love to do one for PEI as well, but I don't know if we know anyone on PEI.
I do.
You could have, but that's involved. That's enough about politics and can do that. But if we can, and if I do not have a curling playoff, that we might try to do something on April 4th as well for the PEI.
And we got to schedule our April pubcast as well.
Yes, and we need to do that. So, Kits, a lot going on. So please watch for it. And we also have some guests that we have booked. Keith Bogue, who used to be a legendary reporter now for CBC, who's now doing his own thing covering the U.S., has agreed to come back on the show and to talk to us a little bit about what's going on in Trump world, given that a lot of legal cases seem to be coming to a head and the GOP primary has started again. I had hoped that we would be able to talk a little bit about the North American Leaders Summit and President Biden's typical visit, but that doesn't seem to his recent visit, but that doesn't seem to be his beat. He seems to be really focused on what's going on the right-hand side of the spectrum at the moment. But we'll have him on for that. And then we have, I hope that I'm pronouncing his name right. I've never heard his name pronounced, so I might be butchering this. But Quito, I'm going to go with Maggie, who is the president and CEO of Main Street Research, a polling firm. And he has some, we hope to ask him some questions about polling, but he also has some insights into the Chinese People's Republic of China election interference attempts. Then he published a really interesting thread over the weekend, and he's agreed to come on the show as well.
So we'll have Friday?
He'll be on Friday. He'll be on Friday, yes. Keith Bogue, we're waiting for a date because he wants to see how certain things play out. And we will have Kit Connie coming back soon as well to give us an update on the Rosie project. So lots of things in the works, Kits. So please stay tuned with us. We hope to bring more quality guests to you over the course of the coming weeks.
And so in my world, I launched a new jazz podcast yesterday.
Yes.
If anybody's into that, and I'll have a pop music podcast by the end of the week. It should be a 4-hour show at least. And of course, my 9 p.m. ASMR show. I go live at 9 p.m. on my personal YouTube channel. If anybody wants to find that, you can find me there, and I'll be doing the mellow voice thing to help you relax as we discuss our mental health in an open and safe forum.
And as Canadian A is saying, yes, thank you, Jean Yoon, for standing up to bullying. Definitely. If you check out her Twitter feed, she's got some good content there. And yes, Christopher Barber trial, and there's been some developments with Tamara Leach as well. So if you're following the Court Cat, hopefully, we should probably extend an invitation, see if the Court Cat would like to come on as well.
See if she'd like to come on. A lot of folks. We've discussed some folks I've talked to, and they say, "No, I like anonymity." I'm like, "No, that's cool." And some folks I've said, "Well, here's what we can do: record audio only, and we'll have an audio only podcast." And they've still, "No, my voice is too recognizable." I'm like, "Okay, no, that's fair. If you want to remain anonymous, absolutely. We're never going to pressure you. We're going to ask if you'd like to come on the show. We like to do a live stream because there's aspects of the live stream both you kids can engage in the chat, but also there's no dress rehearsal. It's real life, right?
Right.
So that's why we like to do the live. But if you're more comfortable with a recorded version only or an audio version only, we're totally cool to do that too.
Right.
I just thought it was important to put that out there. Let the kids know, so that if you think there's a guest that we might consider, if there's somebody you have a connection to and would like to suggest, then drop us a line on DM us on the Twitter or send us an email, and we'll take a look at it.
Yep, indeed. All right, Mr. Grizzly, I think we have a show.
We do.
Okay, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, so please let your peeps know about us. Because democracy is something that you do, again, we say the same thing. Please let your MPs, your MPPs, your senators, your media outlets know that you demand better. You just demand better. And, yeah, you know, we've had enough distractions now with a presidential visit and China. We need to get back to Nazi brunch, which is the actual cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, all of these things have been being used to cover up Nazi brunch. And the fact that Pierre Poilievre, has said explicitly that there would be no consequence for anybody who had anything to do with that. So, and Stag and Doe as well, which has gone under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And Greenbelt.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to address something here that occurred on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, but because it's a Sportsnet Rogers franchise, I can't show the video because if I do, they'll take us down.
Right.
But it has to do with Ron Maclean being an asshole. And I'm calling him an asshole for this because Brian Burke came out in defense of Pride Night and Pride jerseys and dumped on the players who refused to wear it because of religious reasons, which is, as we know, bullshit. Because let's face it, here's a good quote from former President Jimmy Carter. I'm going to put this on the screen and I'll read it. And this is fact, okay?
Okay.
Homosexuality was well known in the ancient world well before Christ was born. And Jesus never said a word about homosexuality. In all of his teachings about multiple things, he never said that gay people should be condemned. Jimmy Carter. This is what a real Christian sounds like. So Ron Maclean tried to both sidesism. And I'm like, no, Ron, you're being an asshole. These people are hiding under the guise of their religious freedom. And by the way, no player was forced to wear the Pride sweater or Pride tape or anything like that. And it was for the warm-up, not for the damn game. But Remar for the Sharks and a few other players just refused to do it, showing their homophobia. Well, actually, and what's the famous quote from Morgan Freeman? You're not afraid of anything. You're just an asshole. Religious reasons is code for I'm a bigot. Yes, Linda, you are correct. So Ron Maclean trying to defend the players who didn't want to wear it. No. Fuck you, Ron. Fuck you. You're being an asshole, and I'm calling you out for it. You don't get to play both sides of this. You're either for people who are being included to play the game, which is the NHL's message. Brian Burke's son was gay, and I say was because he died. Yeah. So Brian Burke has been a strong proponent of equality in the game of hockey for a very long time.
And Brian Burke is not the fuzziest, warmest.
No, that's just it. He's not a fuzzy, warm fella. He's kind of a mean, angry old man. But he is for equality. So you're either for it or you're against it. So you make your own decision. I'm not telling anybody how to live or how to behave, but I'm going to call you out if you're being an asshole, and Ron Maclean is an asshole.
Yep. And the thing is that we also have certain people claiming that they didn't wear or they've never worn a hockey jersey, a Pride jersey before. And, turns out that they have. Mm-hmm. So, for example, this guy here, Eric Stahl, says he never has, but whoops, right there.
Oh yeah, look at that. Right on the crest there.
Yep. Just, well, I'm guessing that's it. Won the Pride jersey. Yep, there we go, All-Star. And there was another one, I think Eric Reimer, was the other one with the Canadiens, Montreal Canadiens, that he had worn it as well. So, I mean, again, it's like, I've never worn it. It's like, we have the
photos.
Evidence. We have the photos.
Selective memory. Well, it works for the cons. Why not? You know.
Well, I mean, it's like, again, we can look. We can look.
Yes,
right?
We have photos. I didn't do. No, that's wasn't me.
Yeah.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
No, wasn't me.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And we had, Dean posted this thing about him, proof that Eric Stahl is not a very bright person. It's not a smart person. Put it up there, Mr. Grizzly.
Something that had changed from when you wore the jersey, the jersey with the Canadians. I haven't before. I never have before.
There's photographic evidence of you wearing a Pride jersey in Montreal.
I haven't worn Pride jersey.
Yeah.
Unimpressed face. Well, kids, if you like this podcast, you can find us on Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. We love to hear from you, so please reach us on our YouFace page or our YouBook site, or our Twitter feed, our Twinsta, our Twittergram, our Snapgab, our whatever. Instafeed, Instafeed, I really do like. Hungry. Press button, Instafeed. So yes, please, we'd love to hear from you.
Out of cookies.
So yes, Facebook, True North Eager Beaver, Twitter feed, True Eager, email, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And if you subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, all lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words, we will come to you as soon as we have something fresh off the bandwidth. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? We are trying to get to 1,000 so that we can monetize this joint. But we want more than 1,000, of course. Well, we want to collect all the kits. So please smash that button, say that you like the episode, and subscribe. And that way, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, you will get a notice also from our YouTube site to let you know we got something for you to watch. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, and if you're watching, well, you can scan the QR code that's above my head now, and that will bring you to our emergency coffee and hot chocolate relief fund. And if you are listening, well, then you use those lovely fingers on those beautiful hands of yours that you use to do good work, and you go to our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters, and you make your donation there. And you do as Kit Rebecca has done once again. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. You've been very, very kind and generous to us over the past few days. And Kit Rebecca said, "You have earned your wage today." We hope that we're still helping you with your history class. That made me it made me so much happy when you said that we were giving her information that helped ask difficult questions to her instructor, because I remember when I was in university, I was that kid that always asked a ton of questions. And at the end of the class, my professor would always look at me and says, "You always ask me that one question for which I've not prepared." What do you know? I guess I always was a beaver.
So it would seem.
Oh, well. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until the next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself, and please have a thought for my stick curling doubles partner. We're having a week. We had 3 weeks to go to get to the playoffs, and with 3 weeks left, she caught COVID, and with one game left, her mother passed away. So there's been a lot of loss lately.
I had a friend die on
right now,
Saturday.
whether or not we make it, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we didn't know he was ill. I'm not going to get into specifics of it, but nobody knew he was sick. And it was like when we heard the news yesterday, everybody was like, "What?" he was diagnosed. I don't even know what with. It wasn't disclosed. Nobody knew he was sick, and it was very quick. It was less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
so
he was a young man with a
lot
family.
Of loss. Yeah, a lot of loss over the last few days. So, of course, whether or not we make the playoffs is no longer very important to me.
No.
So we still have a chance, but in one way I'd like to, so that we have another opportunity to play together this season, because I wouldn't want our last game to have been 2 weeks ago and then the season just ends womp womp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would like to see her again. But yeah, a little bit of a tough week, tough 2 weeks for people we love and care about. So there you go, kids. Just have some special thoughts if you pray for those of us who are going through a bit of a tougher time. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us before we go?
Yeah, tell the people that you love and care for and respect that you love, care, and respect them, because as evidenced by what we just talked about, you don't know. Life is short and so very fragile. You never know.
Yep. Don't wait. Okay. And also, Joe from that Nerd Dad show.
Oh yes.
The baby apparently is like coming within a week.
Oh, cool. Congrats.
So there will be a new member of the Crier Media Network family soon. So, I love you too, Jim. Thank you. We're sending love out to you as well. We know that you and Lori are going through a period right now as well. So thank you for joining us, and lots of love to you as well. All right, kids. This was a very, very long extra.
Very long
It seems we had a lot more to say. But thank you for your patience and your understanding, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
All right, kids, have a beaverific week. I'm going to go and warm up the rest of my hot chocolate because it's no longer hot chocolate.
I'm going to pour another mug of coffee.